timely, for we all know that the earth and the poor cannot wait. For this, during this moment of prayer, we ask God that He may bless all of us, including those who gather in Belem, Brazil, that whatever they'll come up with may be for the good of the earth, and especially for our poor raised brothers and sisters. And may all be there to transform our hearts and our world in need. Welcome to this moment of prayer and reflection. Thank you.
Many thanks, Sister Chanda. I'd like to now turn to Bishop Philip Huggins, Anglican bishop from Australia and member of the Interfaith Liaison Committee to the UNFCCC, who will give us some contextualizing for COP30 and the larger COP process and the interfaith work related to it. So Bishop Huggins, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. It's really, really lovely to be here with you all. As it happens, my wife Liz and I, we're camping in the Flinders Ranges. The sun is just going down, which is very romantic now, but I might be in the dark in a while. But for now, it's up the road from where we may be. The COP31 will be held in Adelaide next year, and I might be able to welcome a number of you then. So a bit on our context, as Chanda just beautifully conveyed. Wonderful Rabbi Jonathan Sachs once reflected, life has meaning when we're part of a story, and the larger the story, the more our imaginative horizons grow. And together, we're part of a crucial story, ensuring that the beauty and wonder of creation, of God's creation, is sustained for all living beings now and into the future. Personally, my COP involvement began about a decade back because I thought, what can I do best for my grandchildren and their generation? And that's where I got started. And as a meditator and prayer person, I know the necessity of spiritual practice. As the saints say, prayer holds up the world. So what I've learned, the crucial things I've learned in the period about the COP process, going back a bit, the scientific evidence is that human activity, including excessive carbon emissions, has changed the climate. And 20 or so years back, the international community through the United Nations concurred with that and so established a response, which is the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the UNFCCC. And with that, its annual conferences, the COPs. And in 10 years ago, in 2015 in Paris, a very necessary and clear roadmap as to how we get to a low carbon and a climate resilient world was negotiated. And that's what you will have heard spoken of as the Paris Agreement. And each year's COP negotiations bring us closer to a transparent agreement, which has as target that we reach net zero by 2050 or sooner, really, if it's possible. And in the same agreement, relatedly, ensure that there's finance for those nations which didn't gain the benefits of a carbon economy, perhaps, but are now unjustly suffering the costs, including, as we see everywhere, more extreme events, weather events happening more frequently. In my area, in the Pacific, rising sea levels, the loss of biodiversity, species extinction. So our context for prayer today, is that while there's been progress, the implementing of the Paris Agreement is still too slow. And at COP30 in Belem, there'll be what's called a global stocktake to get a clearer picture of where we are and where we need still to get to. And we know we're doing this at a time when multilateral cooperation is challenged. The rivalries between some nation states, terrible wars that have been going on, the resource depletion caused by and the dangers of an expanding arms race, which by its opportunity cost means that more of the poor may starve or are starving. But at the same time as that scenario, we also know there are many people and many skilled people, many wonderful people are offering the best years of their vocational life in multilateral cooperation to try and fully implement the Paris Agreement. And many of them will be people we'll be supporting by our prayers who'll be gathering at Belem. So the transition to a low carbon and a climate resilient future is happening. And it's to support this that our prayers and our meditations, including now in this next hour, are so important to facilitate this transition. And in this context, let me introduce Christine Gola, because Christine is one of those gifted folk who's offering the best, some of the really crucial years of her vocational life to this task. She's a woman of prayer and dedication. I met Christine in June when I was in Germany for the UNFCCC meeting between COPs. She's studying in Germany. And aside from her educated intelligence, and you can see something more about her there, her prayerfulness and her faith, she's one of those voices. She embodies one of those voices that need to be more central in this climate action. A young woman from Kenya whose rural community is seriously affected by climate change. So she's studying now so she can be equipped to lead her country and be part of a movement to lead us all into a better future. Remembering those words of Rabbi Jonathan, she's part of this larger story which bonds us all and inspires our imaginative horizons towards a world we pray, which is safer, one which all beings can flourish and everyone has a real hope. So let's hear now from dear Christine.
Thank you so much, Philip. I don't know, Amy, if you're able to put up the poster that I sent to you. But before that, maybe I can just add on to what Bishop Philip said. It was really nice to engage with him here in Germany. We met here at the church, and that's how we started these conversations, and him going to Bonn, supporting and praying for climate negotiations. And to me, climate negotiation is not just a space for negotiating for like big people in power, but also a space where local communities, youth, persons with disabilities, indigenous people, and children can also be part of. And I've seen that firsthand climate crisis coming from the lakeside, where climate change is not this abstract concept, it's a lived reality where there's floods when there's rains come during the long rains, and then during the short rains, the water is gone, there's no fish, and we depend on fish for our livelihoods. So for the lake, for me, is a livelihood. It's something that I've seen how the eroding livelihoods come and go with the hope of our communities, at the very least of people thinking about it, people struggle. For children, this is where they learn responsibility. For women, is where they have this kind of provider offering food. For elders, it's a form of spiritual grounding, wisdom exchange. And to me, COP sometimes just doesn't include the voices of these marginalized communities. It doesn't include this local knowledge, indigenous knowledge. It's all about science. And one time I was involved in this project where we were translating the whole 3,000 pager IPCC into a language that people understand, especially women who are mostly marginalized, and they face the firsthand effects and impacts of climate change because they are always in the farms. They know when there's food and there's no food because there's no rain, or there's little rain, or there's flooding, so there's no produce. So we translated that for women in the communities to kind of understand it, and it was very comical. It was not this boring 3,000 pager scientific report. And that made me understand the importance of inclusion, of bringing participation of the most marginalized communities. And I feel like in this world of faith where it teaches us stewardship, shared responsibility, which goes beyond religion and geography. It teaches us to honor creation at its all forms. So at COP30, I hope that it delivers in the form of its commitments to protect people and the planet. And this whole thing about loss and damage fund, about adaptation fund, I hope that COP actually have the structures of this funding and how, you know that Paris Agreement, there's Article 9 or Article 7, which shows the flow of the funding. And following COP since COP26 till now, it doesn't honor that flow of funding agreement from whom to who. So I hope that this COP being in Brazil, which is also part of the Global South community, it kind of pushes that, because I see communities who suffer. On this photo on the right side, the left side, yeah, I was with the communities in northern Kenya where it doesn't rain, there's no food. And I was there talking to them about climate science and climate action. And all they could tell me is we need food, we need water, and the animals die every day. They also just starve every time. And this is a contrast between me coming from the lakeside where we have this kind of water and flooding, and then in Turkana where it is just bare land and there's so many livestock and so many people who depend on a day-to-day basis from this natural resource that it's not there. So I hope that when we discuss funding at COP, we discuss on how best it's going to reach the people that are marginalized, the people that are also part of this community, and they're able to give their voices and their experiences to what climate change is and how climate adaptation and mitigation can transform their lives, besides just being an abstract concept where it's just turning into negotiations that doesn't end. And to me, being COP30, it should reach somewhere since the first COP until COP30, but it stalls every time. And I think that's really sad. Also, right now, I have not been able to go to COP because then there's no funding, there's little accreditation, and mostly to the Global South communities. And this then is exclusion. And when you exclude people who are most marginalized, then you don't get to hear their voices. You don't get to experience what they experience and see and hear from, the grassroots people. So I believe that even if people have not gone to COP, this COP30, because a lot of young people and a lot of marginalized communities cry, there's no funding, there's no accreditation, the prices are so high, and it's very different from when you go to COP and you see a delegation from Germany with so many young people, with so many delegation, and then you wonder who are they negotiating with, because then the others who are left behind and they cannot have their voices on the table. So I just pray that even if that has happened, I hope that we get to have a voice at the table, that people get to hear and get to experience the suffering of people who are impacted with climate change, and that they are touched and they have an open heart to be able to support them, because then things on the ground are very sad and very different from reality. And yeah, it goes beyond negotiation. It just goes to empathy and how best you can help the next person, just because we share this one goal, which is sustainability and to people and the planet.
Thank you very much, Christine, for bringing your voice to this space, to our prayers, to the conversations. The language of hope, the language of urgency, the language of the heart that reaches us all. So thank you for your presence with us today. Father Roy, I invite you,
Yes,
please.
I'm here. Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I am Father Roy Thomas, Executive Co-Secretary of JPAC Commission in Rome. This gathering is an interfaith prayer service for the upcoming COP30 in Belem in Brazil. And I am pleased to introduce to you a great personality, Imam Muhammad Hassan. Muhammad Hassan is the Imam of the Islamic Cultural Center, Human Fraternity in Rome, of which he is the co-founder and vice president. He is also a member of the advisory board of the Egyptian Human Fraternity Foundation. He is the former Imam of the Islamic Cultural Center of Italy, known as the Great Mosque of Rome, as well as the former lecturer in Islamic worship and English language at Al-Azhar University in Egypt. Currently, he is a speaker at several universities, numerous conferences and forums at various Arab and Islamic embassies and Islamic cultural centers. He is interested and actively engaged in interreligious dialogue in general and in Islamic Christian dialogue in particular. He promotes human fraternity, rapprochement, and cooperation among followers of different religions, as well as the building of bridges between East and West. Dear Imam Muhammad Hassan, a sincere thanks for accepting our invitation and being part of this interfaith prayer service. A hearty welcome to you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. Peace, mercy, and the blessings of God be upon you. Firstly, I want to thank deeply from my heart Father Roy Thomas for his kind invitation to me to participate with you this interfaith prayer or this interfaith moment. For me, it is an important spiritual aspect for COP30. I should thank also Dr. Ami and Senora Lucia for all the efforts they did for realizing this event. Brothers and sisters, from the Islamic point of view, or from the Islamic perspective, man is God's representative on earth. In Arabic, Khalifa, Khalifatullah, representative of God on earth, and is the most important creature in the universe. Indeed, we read in the Quran 2:30, and they mention, O Muhammad, when your Lord said to the angels, I will place on earth a devotee, vicegerent. Here, devotee here means referring to Adam, the first man on earth, and it can mean also all men. Furthermore, everything in the universe has been placed at human disposal. We read in the Quran also 45:13, and he has subjected to you all that is in the heavens and all that is on earth, and all is from him. Verily, there are signs in this for those who reflect. Then our mission as a representative of God on earth, our missions as human beings, to reflect, to think deeply always, and to study. I'm very happy today that I'm with each other to study, to reflect with each other. It is very important for us. This, however, doesn't mean that man can use nature as he pleases, or can violate it or pollute it. Everything on earth and in the heavens is a gift from God to man, a gift that must be respected and preserved. God said in the Quran 56 and verses 68 to 70, do you not consider the water you drink? A question, that is a question. Do you not consider the water you drink? Do you bring it down from the cloud? Or do we bring it down? If we willed, we could make it salty. Why are you not grateful? So sometimes we as human beings, or some of us, are non-grateful to God. So the believers in God should always be grateful to him for his gifts. Thus, through the Quran, God holds humans accountable for their behavior. And by using the metaphor of water in this verse, the word water here in this verse is a metaphor, as a source of life. The water is a source of life for all living beings. He helps us reflect on our attitude towards it and toward the nature that surrounds us. Unfortunately, there are many environmental problems such as air pollution, desertification of the land, intensive exploitation of natural resources without any environmental protection. We also heard and listened from our sister Christine now many terrible things in Africa and otherwise in the world. So also there are some problems like intensive exploitation of natural resources without any environmental protection. The world's experts have to cooperate together to find practical solutions to these problems. Otherwise, this seriously endangers the environmental balance. We all live in a small village or on the same ship, and we should all cooperate to protect it for the benefit of all. I can add that protecting our planet is a human right. God said in the Holy Quran, we honored the children of Adam. So it is the right of everyone here on the earth to be protected. Really, today in this spiritual moment with you, I'm very happy that this spiritual prayer service brings us all together as religious leaders, people of faith, and members of diverse traditions from around the world. I'm really so glad that our meeting today gives us the opportunity to live together intercultural and interreligious coexistence. We are here today united in prayer, and the prayer is very, very important for us also, and reflection for the success of COP30 in Belem, Brazil. As science and faith converge in the urgent call to care for our common home. So it is very important to me as a Muslim that COP30 goals are achieved. Really, I believe that interfaith collaboration is very essential, is very important to inspire moral courage and global solidarity to face together the climate crisis. Brothers and sisters, finally, I pray to God to protect this world, our common home, and this planet, our earth, and to help us live with dignity, happiness, peace, serenity, security, and also to live together religious brotherhood and also human brotherhood. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Imam Hassan, for your words, your call to unity across faith, across all kinds of um, divisions that we as humans create, and to help us um, see our responsibility as humans and our relationship with the entire Earth community. So I want to thank again Bishop Philip, Christine, Imam Hassan for your reflections, for your sharings. And this is a prayer service. And so we would like to invite all of us into a period of prayer, a period of silence, prayerful silence that is universal to all faith traditions, that in our silence we can become unified in one great spirit. So the invitation now is to place yourselves in a comfortable way, in a prayerful posture. Let your gaze land softly on the horizon or close your eyes as you'd like. And call to mind all that's been shared in our reflections today, in the land where you are, the people that you're with, those who will be gathered in Belem. Gather all of these people and places, dreams and longings, desires that you have, and let us bring them all to a shared silence. And after a period of about 10 minutes in silence, we will then invite all of us to share some reflections. What has emerged for you in your prayer so that we can gather those yet still and lift them up and carry them forward for the weeks ahead during COP30. So with that, I ask Father Roy to play our meditation video. And again, place yourselves comfortably, prayerfully, and let the earth and all its expressions speak to you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I invite you back now into the presence of one another and our global shared circle. So now is the time, as you wish, to share what has emerged for you in that period of silence, um, that uniting silence that brings us together in a way that, um, yeah, that words sometimes fail us. But let us now share those words as best we can, as humbly as we can. What are the prayers that have emerged in your hearts? We invite you to place in the chat anything that you'd like to share, or if you would like to speak, open your mic, feel free to do so, or raise your hand and we can invite you that way. Would anyone like to offer what emerged for them in that period of silence?
I I can say something if there is no one to say. I can say some words.
Please, Imam, thank you.
Yeah. I waited a lot for anyone to speak, but thank you, Dr. Ami, from my heart deeply for this video, and thanks a lot for Father Roy. It is really fantastic. I thought a lot inside myself, inside my heart, with this soft music and the image of the earth. I thought a lot about the earth, our planet, our common home. The earth is a beautiful and deserve to be protected. We all have responsibility and the mission to do on earth, because this beauty speaks, the beauty of the earth speaks a lot. And this mission, our mission on the earth, should be done through our unity together, our being together, and our prayer together, our studying together, speaking together. And the most important thing, through loving each other as brothers and sisters. God created us for a goal, for a mission, for there is a wisdom behind our creation. And when I saw now the earth moving in this image, I thought that our planet, we and our planet are a small part from the great universe of God, and God is the greatest. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Imam. And I can share some of the reflections that have been placed in the chat. stillness, and connectiveness. How easily and quickly things become nothing but theory. May the tears and the cry of the earth and her people be heard, be felt, and be acted upon. As I watched the globe go round, I prayed for the people and other humans being impacted at this time by Typhoon Tino in the Philippines. I would like to read the French, but I'm not a French speaker. So if someone here is a French speaker and would like to read and translate, that would be wonderful. But I'll continue. Last night, a severe electrical storm crashed around our house in Sydney. A young man in a nearby street was struck in his car and rescued by people after a tree came down on the car. There was no news of what happened to the tree, our friend, which had been taking in carbon dioxide for us and giving us oxygen. In a forest, a fallen tree is a home for other creatures and still continues to share life and God's love energy flows through it to all. Lord of life and creation, we entrust you to the COP30 summit. May it not be just another summit, but for the beauty and the greatness of the planet that we contemplate. We implore that the cornerstone of integral ecology may be taken into consideration. May the historical situation that we are in be seen as a single complex socio-environmental crisis with holistic solutions, not fragmented to combat poverty, restore dignity to the excluded, and care for nature, for the earth, our common home. Amen. And I see Christine would like to share some of her reflections. Christine,
Can
could you
I read
please?
the French, this one, and then we can continue?
Please. Yes,
Dieu est
please.
grand, lui ne surprend, et lui jette son regard d'amour dans notre humanité. He's saying that God is great, he supports us, and he looks at us with love in our humanity.
Thank you, Sister Mama Lifar. Christine, would you like to share? Christine, I see your hand raised. I'll keep sharing the reflections unless you're ready. More prayers and strong collaboration are essential for caring for our environment and common home. In silence, the beautiful earth in front of me, I pray. Thank you, God, for Mother Earth, generously giving us life. Forgive me and us for contributing to the devastation of this gift. Staying in silence but being together can be very powerful, especially when we share the same purpose. Thank you for those reflections, for sharing what's in your heart. Christine, we can see that you're trying to express yourself and having some technical difficulties, so we'll hold that space with you.
She's muted. Oh, she's gone now.
Yeah, I think she's having some issue with her earpiece. But as we come to the close of our hour together, I would like to invite, I'm not sure if Valerian is here, but if she's...
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, okay, wonderful. Christine, are you there?
Yes, my speaker had a situation, but as I was reflecting, I think I believe, or it's more clear to me that prayer is more than just words. It's it's sort of an act of this solidarity that we share with everyone who carry the daily weight of this changing climate. And for me, I reflected, and climate justice is not just something technical or political, it's moral, it's spiritual, it's about restoring balance, dignity. It's about hope for families like mine, especially who depend on land for food and survival. I come from a family that relies on agriculture, where every season is a prayer, every harvest is a symbol of resilience and uncertainty. And I've seen what it means when the rains delay, um, when floods destroy crops, especially when the lake bursts, when the river banks burst, and sometimes even when hope itself is like a very fragile seed. And these moments teach me um, that this thing called climate change is not very distant. It's also very personal, and it depends with it's very personal depending on who and where you are, and it also shapes where we live, what we eat, our dreams as well. And also coming from Africa, it's a very rich culture, very rich continent. It has a rich spirit, it's rich in resources, but yet it carries the heaviest burden of injustice. And being here doing my master's degree, I mingle with a lot of people from very different backgrounds, very different cultures, and I feel a very deep responsibility to speak up for those whose realities are often invisible, um, in so many places. And it's really nice to be here and share with all of you. And my faith teaches me to act with empathy, and I hope that everyone else is able to do that and to listen and to hold space for the most affected by environmental, economical inequalities. And I think this is why I believe that COP must be more than a conference. It must be this turning point that one delivers real outcomes for the people, especially the front lines. And I hope to see communities that go beyond paper, commitments that are action oriented, that finance locally led solutions, protect smallholder farmers, and ensure that the adaptation is not a privilege, but it's a right to everyone. And yeah, I just hope that COP centers compassion, it centers equity, it centers justice, and it's going to be a space where decisions are not made for communities, but with communities and with everyone involved. And yeah, I think I'm glad to have reflected on that. And I think, yeah, I hope that we all carry hope to COP30.
Thank you so much, Christine, for your powerful reflections. And every season is a prayer, every harvest is a resilience, a sign of resilience, and hope is a fragile seed that we all carry. So thank you so much for sharing your reflections. And I just want to share the final reflection that is in the chat. We are in the same air, under the same God's creation, so that we can breathe in and out together. It is energy and strength to be integrated by our own reflection on the reality of the world. So thank you all for joining in this common shared prayer together. And I'm noticing you, Philip, as the sun has gone completely to rest at this point. When we began, you were illuminated in a warm glow, and now Not the evening. The evening has come and set. So, could we invite you to share any closing reflections and invitations that you may wish to offer to the group?
Thank you, Amy. And you've done a beautiful job of holding all this together so graciously and so thoughtfully. Just to say to folk, if you look up Interfaith Liaison Committee, you'll see what's coming in the first week of the COP is something called the Talanoa Dialogue, and you'd all be invited to be part of it, either virtually or if you happen to be in Belem, Brazil, but most of us will be doing it virtually. And that comes from the Pacific way of doing dialogue, which is to ask just 3 questions. Where are we? Where do we want to get to? How are we going to get there? They're good focusing questions. And the Talanoa dialogue, as the COP begins in Belem, will give people of faith an opportunity to just share, as Christine has done and as others have done in the chat, where we're up to, and try to focus our advocacy and our prayers as we look to this COP to be effective, to be successful. And there's a call to action and there's ways of praying during the COP, but perhaps particularly one thing that comes to mind to share is to be prayerful for the negotiators and the diplomats. They work extraordinarily long hours at these COPs. It's their responsibility to negotiate agreement that is transparent, that will bring to fruition the fullness of the Paris Agreement. Oftentimes, they're people who know more than anyone what's happening to the planet. They carry a sense of their responsibility, and sometimes there's contested views of things within their delegation, within their national group. They may have things going on at home that are demanding of them, but they'll be there in Belem, Brazil. So perhaps a particular prayer and meditation intention of ours can be to be prayerful for those who will be negotiating as diplomats, particularly in the first week and a half of the COP. After that, it's often left with the politicians to see what outcomes might be concluded. But and if you know anyone from your own national delegation, be particularly prayerful for them. That might be coming out of tonight, something that we as a group of people of faith might do as a way we can contribute to the effectiveness, which is what we all hope for from what happens in Belem, Brazil. Just passing that on and saying thank you again.
Many thanks, Philip. And Sister Mama Lifar, would you like to close us with a final remark?
Yes, good morning, everyone, and thank you for this morning. I think the reflections, first of all, I am Sister Mama Lifar, and I'm a missionary sister of Our Lady of Africa and a co-executive secretary of Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation of the Union of Superior General and the International Union of Superior General. I feel personally touched by the reflections that I've heard, and I hope each one of us is touched also. And this silent moment put us in touch with what we have heard, and also maybe from our own personal experiences. And for me, a few things have come up, and for the sake of time, I will not say many things, but from the different perspective, we have heard that creation is a gift God has given us. And this gift is meant to help us live. And living also entails responsibility. And from what we have seen, we have failed in many ways in our responsibility. And that is what has brought us to this crisis. But we also know there are people who are giving themselves full-heartedly to try to contribute to make this world a better place. And let us pray that those who have been excluded, those at the margins who are experiencing the consequences of climate change, that their voices may come into Belem, that their voices may be heard. And with this, I would like to thank all those people who have contributed to make this prayer this morning, I can say, a success. First of all, I would like to thank the speakers, Imam, Bishop, Christine. Really, you have really brought us into a very good space that allow us to reflect in the time of silence. We have been challenged and we have been enriched. And I would also like to thank the interpreters. Without their presence here, we would not have been able to understand one another. Maybe only one part. Only those who understand English would have understood, the others would have been left out. And this would have been exclusion. But we try to be inclusive in our activities. So thank you very much for your service. We are very grateful. And without the participants, we'll be talking to ourselves. Your presence here have enriched this prayer, especially with your reflections that we have been sharing. And we hope that when we go back, this time will help us, each one, to find a little way of being engaged in contributing to the healing of our common home, so that all may live a life of dignity and to exclude this exploitation that is causing harm, not only to our common home, but to us, humanity. So to all of you, and I also want to thank the committee who have really worked very hard to prepare Amy, Sister Chanda, Father Roy, Lucia, and myself. To also, our work has also helped to make this possible. So thank you very much. And if you have contributed in any way, please know that we are grateful for your contribution. And I wish you all the best and God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Mama Lifar, and thank you all again. Until next time, peace.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Good time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Feel free.
Good
A lot.
morning. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Imam.
So
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Grazie,
Blessings.
grazie Father Roy, grazie
Thank
mille.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Yeah. Yes. Bishop Philip, good night. So you are going to bed. We are still busy now.
Thank you.
all.
Yes. God bless
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sister Mama Lifar,
Yes.
planning team, can we just stay on for a quick minute?